Hey guys, I want to talk about the area of the bombing in Syria to stop the chemical weapons. I'm going to reference that was in the Intercept from Glenn Greenwald that came out April 7th, The Spoils of War. Trump lavished with media and bipartisan praise for... This is the thing that is blowing me away. Actually, I shouldn't be blown away because I've talked about it in past videos. Trump has had the lowest rating of any president. He's only been in office 77 days. He couldn't even... travel ban has been voted down twice. The Republicans can't even agree on what his new Trump care is going to be. And I've said, watch out. A war is going to happen. Something's going to happen. Here it is. Here it is. And the most sickening part about it, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Clinton, they're all praising. He had to do it. He had to do it. I'm even talking to a friend of mine. I don't trust the fucking corporate media at all. I was just watching some CNN. I was like, unreal. So first of all, a friend of mine who's left-leaning, a very good friend of mine, doesn't like Trump, never would vote for him, is like, well, they kind of had to. You saw those videos of the kids. Oh, the kids. He's a dad. First of all, did that really happen? That video could be anything. That video could be anything. I remember they took video after 9/11. They showed these people celebrating in the streets, handing out, and they're like, oh, the Muslims are celebrating 9/11. That was old archive footage. It wasn't about 9/11. The media did that. So that's what the media is doing. So this could be anything. It could be, they could have just got footage from a school had a gas leak and they had to rush these kids out of here and get them medical attention. The CIA could have done the gas. It could have been anything. It could have been anything. But even if it did happen, even if Assad, even though we said, Susan King said this, where is it? She spoke on NPR. Susan Rice, 2 months ago on NPR, boasted, quote, we were able to get the Syrian government to voluntarily and verifiably give up its chemical weapons stockpile. So I thought there weren't any. Where did they get them? Well, they kept them hidden. Oh, you can't trust Assad. Okay. But let's just say, I'm going to quote, Stephen O talked about this when I was on Aggressive Progressives on Thursday. And I'm going to repeat it and add my own stuff to it. But he made an excellent point. He goes, let's just say Assad actually used chemical weapons. We're going to spend, it's $1.4 million per Tomahawk missile, right? There's already reports, and I'll go into it from the article, that there was civilian casualties. Like 7, but that's, I don't know, that might be 7 too many as far as I'm, that's our humanitarian help is killing, well, we took out the air bases and stuff, but hey, 7 civilians, collateral damage. Is that cool? If one of those civilian were your friend or family member, are you okay with that? Even though, hey, I stopped the humanitarian crisis from continuing. It's so unbelievable. And to see people on the left, like Democrats and liberals and the corporate media, everyone was out of like, oh my God, the travel ban. Trump is against Muslims. He's against Muslims. But if he bombs them, that we're okay with. Banning them from coming into this country, that is a crime. But bombing them's okay. This doesn't, it's unbelievable. So Syria and Russia vehemently deny that Syria used any chemical weapons. Does this sound familiar? Saddam Hussein's using chemical weapons. He has weapons of mass destruction. This is illegal, first of all. He did need to get congressional approval, and he didn't get it. I've seen I'm not aware of everything, but I've seen one. I've seen Tulsi Gabbard, who I spoke about. She's a congresswoman from Hawaii. I did a story about her wanting to legalize pot on a federal level. She is a Democrat. She was an Iraq war vet. I'm not saying she's amazing or whatever. I'm just getting to know her, who she is and what her policies are. But she was on CNN. I did watch her say, this isn't right. He didn't, it was with Wolf Blitzer. She's like, if it did happen, if Assad is using chemical weapons, then let's let the UN do their job. Let's put him on trial in an international court. Let's do that. Why are we committing to war? She's a woman who's been to war. She knows how awful it is. And Wolf Blitzer's like, yeah, but the Pentagon and General Mattis came and said it. And she goes, yeah, but so did Colin Powell and everybody else came to Bush about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq in 2002. And we just rushed into that, and that was awful. Iraq was a complete mistake, and we're going to do that again? And Wolf Blitzer was like, yeah, but they said it. Like, he said it twice. Like, Wolf Blitzer is so just part of the corporate machine. It's unbelievable, because we aren't at war in the middle. I mean, he made his career off of the first Gulf War, so he needs more wars to report on. He can't report on, oh, hey, we're rebuilding our infrastructure and all this other shit. It's like, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad to see everybody just fucking fall in line. Everybody just fell in line. Wait a minute. I thought Trump was a sociopath. He's dumb. He's inept. He's a racist. He's a sexist. But we're okay with, but when he bombs people, then we're okay with it? So you want a sociopath. You're okay with a sociopath to bomb people as long as it's for humanitarian reasons? Do you see how this is fucking insane? As I've reported, 54% of our budget, of course, that was under Obama. Trump is going to have even a new budget, but 54% of our budget goes to the military. Just shy of $60 billion. With Trump, it'll be more than $600 billion. It was about 594, 596 under Obama. Like I said, it was 54% of our budget. When that kind of money is being spent, guess what? We need wars. We need to manufacture wars when that kind of money's being spent. And Clinton, who's as pro-war as they get, the Democrats, they're the fucking worst. They're buckling for this shit. Chuck Schumer. All right, so let me read something from this article. It's like I can't even get into this. Justin Trudeau said before, when it was leading up to it, we might need an investigation, and let's not rush to this, right? We need to question who's responsible. Justin Trudeau said that like Wednesday or Thursday. But after the attack, he's already praised it. Even Justin Trudeau has praised it. And I know I did a story on Justin Trudeau, and many of you living in Canada are like, Graham, he's a fake liberal too. He's a pro-gas, pro-fracking, pipeline asshole. So fuck him. He's a corporate dick. It's like, and I got to do the titles differently now, because if I put all of this Syrian bombing and stuff in the description in the title, I'm going to get demonetized by YouTube. I'm going to do a whole video on that, because they're starting to come after progressive independent media people like myself and the Young Turks and Jimmy Dore and everybody. So the CIA has spent more than $1 billion a year to arm anti-Assad rebels for years, and the U.S. began bombing Syria in 2014, the seventh predominantly Muslim country bombed by Obama. So that America didn't have a problem with. We're okay with bombing Muslims, but the travel ban is what got everybody riled up. And I was one of those people. I'll take responsibility for that. I didn't speak up enough when Obama was bombing 7 fucking Muslim countries. That's why I'm here doing this show. I am mad at myself for letting that shit slide. And I'm not letting that slide anymore. I'm a part of no party. I'm a part of the human party. the progressive human party. And he never stopped. Obama never stopped. Trump had already escalated the bombing campaign, culminating in a strike last month that Syrians say destroyed a mosque and killed dozens. What makes this latest attack new is that rather than allegedly targeting terrorist sites of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, it targets the Syrian government, something Obama threatened to do in 2013 but never did. There's tweets. Here's a tweet from Trump in October 9th of 2013. Now that Obama's poll numbers are in a tailspin, watch for him to launch a strike in Libya or Iran. He is desperate. It works. It works. Everyone's, oh, Trump, he had to do the right thing. He's so, what's his name? Fareed Azar or whatever, on CNN was like, he finally became president tonight. Oh, that's what makes you a president, is when you bomb civilians in a poor country? Congratulations, President. Leading congressional Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, quickly praised Trump's bombing while raising concerns about process. Hours before the bombing commenced, it was known Trump was planning it. Hillary Clinton, who has been critical of Obama for years for not attacking Assad, she said in her campaign, I'm going to go after Assad, appeared at an event and offered her categorical support for what Trump was planning. Yeah, there's two parties, two very different parties. There's the anti-gay marriage war party and the pro-gay marriage war party. That's how different they are. And here's the other thing that he goes into is, so Democrats like Donna Brazile, who would rather blame Russia than admit that she cheated, they have been wrapping themselves, Rachel Maddow, they've been wrapping themselves in this nationalistic flag of Trump has ties to Russia. He's a Russian puppet. Well, he just bombed a Russian ally. He bombed bases that had Russian soldiers in them. And I said this on Twitter, and someone's like, yeah, but he gave them a warning. He gave them an hour warning. Oh, that's cool. And that'll just be, Democrats will use that like, oh, he gave him a warning because him and Putin are in on it or whatever. It's fucking preposterous. There's some like deep state shit, like two evil fucking corporations are battling it out or something. I don't know what this is, but I don't trust any of these assholes at all. So that's the thing is, what the Democratic establishment has been doing. They've been specifically tried to exploit Assad's crimes by tying the Syrian leader to Trump, insisting that Trump would never confront Assad because doing so would anger his Kremlin masters. They have embraced a framework whereby anyone who refuses to confront Putin or Assad is deemed a sympathizer of or a servant to foreign enemies. Donna Brazile tweeted, it's an act of war, like Russia hacking the campaign. So what was your feeding Hillary answers? Was that an act of war? And here's the other thing that Glenn Greenwald says. In wartime, U.S. television instantly converts into state media. It was so funny. I was watching CNN, and just so you know, I don't have cable. I'm getting it. A buddy of mine has DirecTV, and he gave me his login info, and I'm watching it through my through my Apple TV. I'm not paying those fucks. I'm not paying for cable, but I like watching their bullshit. They're showing Syrian and Russian news of the bombing attacks, and they always say state media. Oh, so it's like letting us know it's the state. Oh, well, you should just say corporate state media, just pushing the corporate state agenda, because all of a sudden, as Glenn says, they just become state media. All of a sudden, CNN and Fox and MSNBC is all of a sudden, they're just pushing the agenda of the state. No one's going, hey, wait a minute. He didn't have congressional approval. This airstrike is going to Putin's going to retaliate. He said he's going to. What did you think was going to happen? Oh, it can't be pushed around. Like, oh, great. We're going to be another proxy war like we are in Yemen? Awesome. Here's a great quote. At least when Obama started bombing Syria without Congress, he had the excuse that it was authorized by the 2001 authorization to use military force since his ostensible targets were terrorist groups, even though ISIS did not exist until years after that was enacted and is hardly affiliated with al-Qaeda. But since there's no self-defense pretext to what Trump just did, what possible legal rationale exists for this? None. But nobody in Washington really cares about such legalities. Indeed, we have purposely created an omnipotent presidency. Recall that in 2011, Obama went to war in Libya, and not just without congressional approval, but even after Congress rejected such authorization. See? That's why when Trump just bombs people without congressional approval, you've got people on the left going, yay, because they did that for Obama. So Trump does it. It's just like what everybody's been doing. He has bombed Mosul, Yemen, and killed scores of civilians, and bombed a mosque near Aleppo, as I said, that killed dozens. During the campaign, he's vowed to murder the family members of alleged terrorists. He shut down doors to Syrian refugees and is deporting people who have lived in the U.S. since childhood despite committing no crimes. That's the other thing. So we're all like, the video, the women and children have been gassed. It's so awful. But when women and children come here as refugees, fuck no, they're dangerous. Well, what is it? What is it? And Glenn Greenwald talks about the bombing showing two U.S. toxic conceits, which are do something and look strong. We got to do something. We got to look strong. We look crazy. How does this make America look good? And there's videos, like Syrian people going, thank you for bombing Assad. Again, let's say Assad did it. Let's say he did all this stuff. What are we doing? We got to need regime change. Oh, yeah, that's worked. That totally worked with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and that worked with Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Those countries are great now. There's no problems. The Taliban hasn't regained giant portions of Afghanistan, and Iraq's fantastic. The power vacuum created ISIS and all that. It's fantastic. We've had sectarian violence. It's just fucking great. Every time we change a regime, boy, it's just whoop, everyone's got a job and there's Walmarts and McDonald's. It's perfect. The fuck are you talking about? This never works. People say the same thing over and over. I'm going insane. I feel like I'm going insane. It is the definition of insanity to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. And people say this. Some people I like and respect. I don't understand this at all. Really? It's just like, all right, I'm going to leave you with these couple things. Clinton long endorsed far more extensive military action in Syria than what Trump yesterday ordered, often advocating a no-fly zone over parts of Syria, which would be a massive and incredibly dangerous military undertaking, and even yesterday calling for the destruction of Assad's air force. I'm going to read you a quote from General Mattis, who is now Secretary of Defense, from 2013. I'm going to leave you with this. On Syria, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have to determine what is the end state we want. This war needs to be ended as rapidly as possible. That's the bottom line, Mattis began. But if the Americans go in, if the Americans take leadership, if the Americans take ownership of this, it's going to be a full-throated, very, very serious war. And anyone who says this is going to be easy, that we can do a no-fly zone and it'll be cheap, I would discount that on the offset. He then drew an analogy to the war in Iraq. We need to be very clear about our military end state, contributing to what political end state, said Mattis. Otherwise, you're liable to invade a country, pull down a statue, and then say, now what do we do? Remember the big Saddam statue coming down? Yay, America, we did something. We're strong. When he said that, by the way, he was talking in a group, he got about a laughter in 2013 when Mattis said this. We all want to do something to stop this, but the desire to do something, the intention to do good, does not take the place of pragmatic, quote, what is possible, quote. We have no moral obligation to do the impossible and hawk our children's future because we think we just have to do something, he said. Maybe Tulsi Gabbard doesn't want a full-out war in Syria because she doesn't want people to go through what she went through in Iraq. Maybe the reason I don't want to have another war in Syria is because I just saw it from the sideline as a comedian. Maybe I am bothered by the fact that 20 veterans a day kill themselves, 2/3 of which are because of PTSD inflicted from combat. Maybe I don't want to see that. Maybe I've met numerous veteran after veteran coming up to me after shows or whatever here in the States, or I've gone to the Navy hospital in San Diego and I see prosthetic limbs or people without limbs. Maybe I've seen that and I think it's fucking awful, and to hear people cheer this is bullshit. Follow the money. It's about the oil. Russia gets oil from Syria and they sell it to people in Europe. That's how Russia, as I've said before, their economy is oil and weapons. We, along with the Saudis and Qatar, want to get into Syria to depose, because Assad won't do business with us, so we wanted to get a pipeline. Because if we get a pipeline, then it saves money on all the shipping to go through the Strait of Hormuz. That's like something like, I don't know, 30% of the world's oil or some shit like that goes through there. That's what this is about. It's about oil, once again. War is never about humanitarian reasons. Do not delude yourself. War is somebody is making a profit. Somebody needs a natural resource or they need something. When they want to depose a leader, we got to get rid of this. It's because that leader is getting in the way of them making a profit from something that they have in that country. Never, ever, ever forget that. There's a book called War is a Racket. Read that book. That is what this is all fucking about. And you can watch, they're going to put fucking images of kids on there and they're going to do all of this stuff. Okay? So don't buy any of this bullshit. This is so horrifying. And once again, this country learns nothing. They learn nothing. People on the left who were screaming, Trump's crazy, are now happy he's fucking shooting Tomahawk rockets into another Middle Eastern country. Awesome. Like, subscribe, the Patreon link's below, man. I don't know what the fuck to do. But vote all these assholes out in 2018, Schumer and Pelosi. Vote them the fuck out.